Hi, I'm Alex, Executive Director at More Light Presbyterians.
And I'm Jess, Program and Communications Manager for More Light Presbyterians. And on behalf of all of us at MLP, we want to welcome you to the family of More Light.
We are so excited to have Hillsborough Presbyterian as a More Light congregation. You are joining alongside 270 congregations and campus groups from across the country and offering visible and tangible welcome and inclusion for LGBTQIA+ people. More Light's work in the world is about creating spaces so that everyone knows that they are beloved. And at the center of that work is a belief in a God of infinite abundance. We believe God is bigger than we could ever imagine. Following God's abundance, we believe that we are all invited to confront God's holy abundance with awe and wonder. And we know that we are abundant because our Creator is abundant.
More Light believes that members and churches live into this understanding of God's abundance through a developmental journey, which begins with a deepening understanding of a theology of God's abundance, and then extends into the organization, leadership, and practices of our faith communities, and spiritual practices of faith in action. Our programs and resources are designed to help individuals and congregations, like y'all, respond to an abundant God through policies and practices of transformative inclusion.
For over 45 years, More Light's mission has been to equip congregations and individuals to live out their welcome for LGBTQIA+ people within their congregations and by putting their faith into action. One of the gifts LGBTQIA+ leadership offers the church is a spirit of adaptation and innovation. Queer and transgender people have always found a way to be community when there was no way. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are building on this tradition by supporting congregations and pastoral leaders in innovating their worship to adapt to online formats and find unique ways to cultivate and care for their communities.
We have been deeply moved in the last couple of months by the ways that More Light churches have led the work to find creative ways to worship and build community online. And we are excited to support and elevate the innovative approaches we know Hillsborough Presbyterian is already doing.
More Light congregations have long been an in-person respite and place of care for marginalized communities. We are acutely aware that in this isolating time, LGBTQIA+ people are particularly vulnerable, whether they live in homes that don't support their identities or are working lower-wage jobs that are the first to be cut when companies tighten their belts. Our hope is that More Light congregations, with our support, can remain on the lookout for ways to support LGBTQIA+ people and all marginalized communities in their wider community, and thus model what it looks like to care for those beyond your sanctuary walls.
At More Light, we frequently talk about ourselves as hope evangelists. And we believe, like the Apostle Paul said, that part of our invitation as God's people is to hope for the things we cannot see. It is an uncertain, even scary time in the world. And we see this current pandemic as an opportunity for congregations to step forward and expand their welcome.
Absolutely. And here's what your witness to inclusion can mean in someone's life. Just a few weeks ago, I got a call from a campus minister that is part of a More Light campus ministry, one of the first in the state of North Carolina. I've been working with her over the past few months as she was supporting a student who was coming out to themselves as transgender and really naming that for the first time and starting to live that out in their school environment. As soon as the pandemic hit and the school campus was shut down, the campus ministry group started to meet online via Zoom. The transgender student had not yet come out to her campus ministry group as transgender because she was scared of the reception she would receive and all the hurtful messages she'd heard in her youth about what it means to be transgender. But she got brave and started working with our campus minister to name it out loud to the campus ministry group on the very first Zoom they were going to have together. So they built a plan, they had a whole speech prepared, and they were going to give her some time in the middle of the conversation to share who she was. Well, as students typically do, they upended expectations and everybody jumped on Zoom, and right away, the student changed her name and pronouns in the Zoom window so that everyone could see how she wanted to be named and called. And right away, the student started chatting her words of support and affirmation, not blinking an eye or batting an eye, that she was revealing this to the group, that they were in full support. Our campus minister received a call after the group meeting was over from this transgender student, crying tears of joy that she had been received so beautifully by this community. This is what it means to be a More Light campus group. And we know that our expressions of inclusion are just as important online as they are offline.
We also frequently have people contact us because someone comes out, maybe they've come out, even just to themselves, and they find themselves with more questions than answers, or more isolation than community. At More Light, we walk alongside congregations and individuals, discerning the best ways to support the lived experiences of the people in their community. Our resources help individuals and congregations offer a posture of abundant welcome. We are teaching you to fish, so to speak, just like you're teaching us to fish, so that all God's children can share in this abundant meal.
We are so excited to connect with you all, and we invite you to participate in some of the programs we have going on right now, because you don't have to wait to shine more light. For example, you can join us for one of our weekly episodes of Liberation Bible Study, which is happening on Facebook Live. Liberation Bible Study is a podcast where I invite guests, for example, Reverend Larissa Kwangabezia in a few weeks, to read scripture in a style of Lectio Divina with a twist. With each reading, we invite listeners to join us in finding the Bible as a source of inspiration and strength so that we may all live into God's abundant vision for our life and the world.
If you'd like to see what other More Light congregations are up to, we also have a list of congregations worshiping online during this time of COVID-19. We know that LGBTQIA+ people are more likely to visit a church online before visiting in person to see if it is truly an inclusive space before they walk through the sanctuary doors. This opportunity gives you the chance to show your welcome in ways that people are desperately hungry for.
And if you're interested in having us join you either in person or remotely, we offer preaching and worship leadership opportunities, including sermons, liturgy, and minutes for mission.
We've also been holding weekly check-ins for clergy and other pastoral caregivers to offer the folks the space to exhale, troubleshoot, and share communion with one another. In addition, we are working on new offerings for our teach-in and ambassador programs, so be on the lookout for news and information about those in the upcoming weeks.
We know that shining more light only happens in community, and we are so grateful to be on this journey with you. The easiest way to get involved is to become a More Light member. You just need to go to our website and click the Join Us button at the top.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where in addition to getting updates on what's going on with us, you will also get an affirming, empathetic word that will remind you of God's abundant love for you.
Wherever you are on your journey, we are excited to be with you. And we look forward to partnering with you as we work together to ensure all God's children know they are loved, seen, and have a place to call home. Thank you for being part of this wide network of love.
Thank you.